How's it going, everyone? My name is Sinikle, and welcome back to yet another Higurashi When They Cry. We are on the final chapter, Matsuribayashi. And if you have not caught up to this point, videos in the playlist is in the description down below, so go ahead and check it out. Click the link, and get caught up. But if you don't want to, and you just want to go ahead and watch this video here, then I'll go ahead and shut up and load the save. And let's continue. Hell yeah. Okay.
スピーチあと一人で乾杯に入ります。準備できてるね。候補 OK です。
Are we still viewing the past or something?
内部全然聞こえないんで。
Her past?
スピーチが終わるタイミングでコールをお願いします。
I think we are.
いいかい。各宅にビールは10本ずつだよ。ちゃんと自分の縄張りにスムーズに運んでね。
Young hotel workers dressed smartly in bow ties pulled bottle after bottle out of the beer cases, preparing for the toast. They waited for their cue to serve the drinks while listening through the intercom. At a normal party, they could put bottles of beer on the table ahead of time, but if there was a lecture before the party, then they couldn't. Guests didn't mind sushi going dry due to a long speech, but they don't like seeing their tables get wet with condensation from the bottles of beer. And more than anything, they certainly don't want to drink warm beer. That's blasphemy. That's why beer has to be served right before the toast. However, there's always the speech before a toast. They're not actually talking about literal toast like bread. Just so people know. Anyway. I don't think you all are stupid, but anyway. And usually a long one. Especially at a big party like this. There are lots of guests that give speeches, of course. So it's extremely difficult to know when to serve. For that reason, the bottles end up sitting outside by the banquet room. And people end up drinking warm beer anyway. Damn! There were several dozen tables with white tablecloths on them in the banquet room. Approximately 8 people were sitting at each table, so there were at least a few hundred people in the room. Damn! The banquet room was filled with excitement. There were many plates with many different kinds of food on each table. A sushi platter, a sashimi platter, a fruit platter. Also along the wall, there were cooks ready to serve fresh sashimi. Bleh. My mouth. All the guests appeared to be well-mannered gentlemen, and were clearly notable people in various different fields. The huge and beautiful chandelier above them clearly indicated that this hotel held a status good enough for these famous people. Ooh. An elderly gentleman was giving a lengthy speech on the stage before making a toast. Usually people don't like such long speeches, especially if it's before a toast. But the guests occasionally shouted, "Yes, yes!" and sometimes gave him loud applause, filling the room with their fervor. Oh. Well, maybe fervor was a pleasant way to put it. It was probably more accurate to say their excitement was bizarre. Not voiced, huh? Alright. Which country would actually teach people not to show respect towards their own flag? There are no others. It's happening only in Japan. Whoa, Jesus Christ, that shake. What the fuck? That's right, that's right!
これからはお国のためよりも個人の才能を伸ばす時代。バカ言っちゃいけない。いいですか。彼らが今勉学に励み、夢や進路を自由に選択できるのは
先人たちが切り開いた道場があってこその権利。
To know ourselves, to know our culture, to understand our history and our country itself. Those are the things that make you realize that you are a Japanese citizen. That makes you understand the part you play as a citizen of this country. And the feeling you get from that is love towards your own country. However, those anti-Japan teachers are proclaiming that it's militaristic brainwashing. Oh my god. Those stupid claims are wrong. What are those people doing anyway? They're teaching our children to hate being Japanese. I don't think that's exactly right, but okay, whatever. Old people, am I right? They're the ones brainwashing them with this self-destructive education. They are teaching our children that Japan should be ashamed of itself, and that they should be ashamed of being Japanese. Forget who you are, and deny your country. That's what they're teaching them. These innocent children listen and believe such nonsense. Of course they do. They go to school to learn things, right? If their teachers teach them that, of course their children believe it. Can you believe such corruption exists? Hey, listen, old man, corruption is everywhere, baby. You can't get rid of it. You can try, but yikes. We must do something about this country's education now, no matter what it takes. The sound of applause filled the banquet room. All the gentlemen agreed, and expressed that they felt the same way by cheering him on. After that, a gentleman wearing a cloth sash approached the stage. The hall welcomed him onto the stage with another round of thunderous applause. A rousing theme from a popular drama series played as he took the stage, but it was entirely unnecessary before the overwhelming applause. The man's sash carried his name within large letters, along with the name of the prefecture he was running the office for. Let me introduce you to a patriot, Blank-kun. Oh yes, the infamous Blank-kun. This man has served the former government of his right-hand man as director of the office of the governor for many years, supporting the prefecture's government for a long time. Since the previous governor has decided to retire, he was appointed as the next governor. Oh, well, there you go. Unfortunately, we have those anti-Japan teachers in our prefecture. While they proclaim freedom of education and freedom of thought, they are shamelessly forcing an anti-Japan education down on our children. They don't teach real history. They teach our children that everything was Japan's fault. They don't even mention the true purpose of the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. Fuck, that's a mouthful. Or all those who fought to save Asian peoples from the Western control. Whoa, okay. One thing is another thing, alright? Let's not get into that, huh? History is history, baby. They don't even talk about how many Asian countries were actually Western colonies before Japan stood up for our freedom during the war. Our country was recovered amazingly since then, yet our children don't know any of that, because those teachers don't teach them. History lesson, folks. Let's go. Where's the fucking... Where's Keiichi and the others? Fuck! Anyway. How truly, truly sad. I can't stand the fact that those anti-Japan teachers are actually teaching our children alongside those teachers who take teaching seriously. My god. Teaching. They are insulting our educational institutions. I will become a governor and get rid of those teachers. I will straighten out our education system and make sure our children will grow up to be decent young people who can carry on Japan's future. He, Blank-kun, announces his candidacy for the next year's prefectural governorship. Oh, good for fucking him. Don't give a shit. Carry on. We appreciate your support for him. I promise I will straighten out Japan's education system. Thank you for your support. Again, the banquet room filled with applause. The man was receiving a standing ovation. I need to explain a bit about this banquet before you misunderstand. It wasn't the conference of a political association. I was going to say assassination. Like, well, what? Or a lecture by a political candidate. It was hard to believe, but this was nothing more than a meeting of a colleagues' alumni association. Ooh. Everyone should be familiar with what those are. Whether it's elementary school, junior high school, or college. Once you graduate from one of those, you normally belong to an organization of alumni. You receive invitations for reunions where you enjoy talking about the good old days, like high school reunions, if you ever heard of those or been to one. However, there are many different types of such organizations. Some are simple, and some are united with much tighter bonds. And once an organization becomes united with those tight bonds, it's no longer a simple organization of alumni. Rather, it becomes a significant faction known as an alma mater clique. I think I pronounced that right? Probably not. Fuck. In Japan's society, it's traditional for graduates to form tighter bonds that go beyond the level of an organization. Also, it's no longer a simple organization of alumni. Imperial University, one of the best universities in the country, is famous for the deep bonds its graduates form. Why do superior people like to bond? It may be because they take pride in being superior. But more than that, maintaining connections is the most significant reason. All Imperial University graduates are elites in their own respective fields. They are likely to succeed and become important people. When they do, the unity of their alumni association gains immeasurable meaning. In fact, even today, the Imperial University graduates maintain their tight academic clique. And they hold great influence throughout many different fields. They interact with other universities as well, so the graduates' bonds are extremely tight, even today. Additionally, while Imperial University usually refers to the University of Tokyo, sometimes it's used to mean all 7 major universities in Japan. They are located in Tokyo, Kyoto, Tohoku, Kyushu, Hokkaido, Osaka, and Nagoya. I think I got them all down. Yes! Alright. I hope I did. Whew. They are all great schools. There happens to be an organization of alumni that, sorry, I blanked for a second, includes all those 7 universities. The elderly gentlemen in this banquet room were each from one of those organizations. However, not every graduate would get an invitation here automatically. It is a society of select gentlemen, and in order to become a member, one must first fulfill several conditions, such as recommendation from an existing member, contribution to the society, possession of status, and so forth. Therefore, all the members are important people from different fields, and obviously, the power of this organization is of a political nature. But there's one more very important criterion, one that has to meet to join. Strong patriotism. A heart that longs to contribute, to Japan and its rebirth. Where have we heard that before, huh? Wink to Chapter 7. Anyway, as a result, this organization has become extremely nationalistic. Up on the stage, the candidate for the prefectural government was still talking passionately. And among those elderly gentlemen in the crowd, Takano can be found. Here we go. Takano seemed used to this kind of conference, and seemed unsurprised at anything that was being said. But at the same time, she looked rather fed up with it. As she was in attendance, she must have been one of their members, which meant she possessed not only an extremely excellent academic background, but that the older gentleman here had acknowledged her equivalent contributions to society, and that she possessed strong patriotism. However, her academic background was the only qualification she had met to join. She was only able to join as a special case because of her connections. She didn't even hold prejudiced ideas like the other members did. So, why was she here today? Probably because of the same reason as the man giving a speech up on stage. The man on the stage didn't actually have prejudiced ideas, just like Takano. He only prepared a speech that he knew the guests would like. Politicians only want votes. Each and every person has a vote, but appealing to each one of them takes too long. So the most efficient way is to appeal to organizations with a unified idea and a unified will. In other words, this man was giving his speech so he can garner support from those powerful people. The elderly gentlemen in the banquet room will then do their best to support him, since he appears to share their ideals. They can offer many different kinds of expediency, support, and assistance. To an outrageous degree, I might add. If the day's event continued in the same way, the organization would likely decide to officially support him. They will probably give him a great deal of financial aid. They'll assist him in different ways as well. Of course, the man on the stage won't be the only one gaining something. When he wins the election and becomes a governor next year, the organization will become the governor as a new member. Will welcome the governor as a new member and gain even more political influence. And eventually, the organization will become so powerful that nobody can ignore it. Ooh. Those of you reading this right now probably get the sense that there are no mere luminous association. You'd be absolutely right. After reaching this level, they were a fine syndicate. No, they would be a secret society if the group wasn't so open about its activities. Now, I'm sure some of you readers are brushing this off, thinking there's no way such a suspicious organization could exist in Japan. But everything I've explained is entirely true. There are several such influential groups and organizations within our society, and you need to understand that they hold powerful political clout and influence our national policies. Some of alma mater cliques, I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm gonna have to look that up later. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. Actually, I fucking know I am. Terribly sorry for all the times I have. But anyway, like the one I've described above. Others are scientific societies serving different parties, industrial groups, adversary committees, religious organizations, god damn it. My mouth is dry, I'm sorry. Community service groups, and so forth. Also, there are right wings and left wings, the hawk and the dove. I won't go listing their specific names here. Yet, you've probably read them every now and then in your average newspaper. In Japan, the terms for such forces aren't very common. Most of you readers probably think of a suspicious organization wearing white hoods when you hear the phrase secret society and laugh it off. Over here in America, that means something else. Okay. But unfortunately, there's a huge mistake. In America, where there's far more territory and citizens, there's way more groups like that. And they possess such vast influence that ignoring them is impossible. So the terms they use for such forces doesn't apply to those on the scale of this syndicate. Sometimes people say that such large groups have more power than the White House, and they are referred to as the shadow government. Even here in Japan, we had a shadow government before the war, our Zaibatsu. I hope I pronounced that right. After we lost the war, the GHQ dismantled those blocks. But 40 years have passed since then. There's no guarantee our country hasn't given birth to another shadow government, given how good we are at collusion, groundwork, and backroom deals. Mayo Takano was, in fact, attending a conference of such a shadow government. We know that already. Well, we know little information of that anyway. No. Okay, finally a background. How long are we in? Oh my god, 22 minutes of a black screen. Fantastic. It might appear to be a guest house at a huge golf course. There were no golfers in sight, but by appearances that must be it. But appearances can be deceiving. This wasn't a golf course, but a huge backyard. The guest house was, in fact, a very stylish mansion. Normal people would be surprised to learn that this was a private residence. Ooh. Oh, well. Sorry. I've seen fans here. Anyway, the interior of the building was as lavish as the exterior. There were beautiful carpets on every floor, expensive-looking decorations on the wall, and expensive-looking bottles of alcohol on the shelves. You drunk? I had to. That's the kind of room Takano was in. There was a knock on the door. That did not sound like a knock, but okay, yeah, sure. And an old man in a wheelchair, and a young woman pushing it, entered. As Takano stood up to bow, the old man stopped her by raising his right hand. I'm gonna boost up the audio just a little bit. Okay.
久しぶりだの。いつでも遊びに来なさいと言っとるのに。
そのお言葉だけで光栄ですわ、小泉先生。
Kayazumi. Okay. The old man sat down on the sofa with assistance from the woman. He was very old. His face was covered in wrinkles, and he could hardly do anything on his own. That's sad. Even so, he still held a great deal of power and influence.
相変わらずお盛んですわね。首筋、口紅がついておりますわよ。
Oh, the old man's a little... let me guess, gold digger? Alright, anyway.
それ本当かね。
Yeah, you enjoy that gold digger all you can, baby.
やれやれ、これお恥ずかしいの。
There was no lipstick on his neck. The woman who was helping him with his wheelchair was too beautiful to be a mere helper, so Takano had suspected something. Ah, nice trick there. How he reacted actually confirmed that. As it turned out, her guess was correct. Although he was too Although he was so old that he could die the next day, he wanted to stay sexually active until the very end. Thanks for thanks for telling me that. I'm not imagining it. Son of a bitch. That's nasty. Even the Grim Reaper would think that's just absurd. Yeah.
ミオちゃんもいつの間にかすっかり美人さんに成長したの。
Don't try anything, you son of a bitch. I don't know what the hell that voice was, I'm sorry.
いつまでも小さいと思っとったらいつの間にの。
Oh, fuck, I'm trying to do a Mickey Mouse or something? What the fuck was that?
ご冗談を。
Oh, God.
本当にそう思われていたら、私のお尻を撫でようなんてなさいませんわ。
Oh. Well. Old man be perverts.
おい先短い年寄りに触らせても減るもんではないに。
私よりももっと柔らかいお尻を散々撫でておいでのくせに。
Oh. Takano and the old man enjoyed a tasteless conversation. Yeah, that was getting awkward. They had clearly known each other for a long time, and were very close. The young woman came back in to serve tea. After she left, the old man started to speak.
しかし、ミオちゃんは本当に立派な子だの。高野くんもこれほど立派に育ってくれて、きっとあの世で鼻高々だろうな。
そうであればいいのですが、祖父の偉業には私など足元にも及びません。
高野くんもいろいろと運がなかった。時代にも恵まれんかった。もし何もない時代に研究をしておったなら、あんたに引き継がせることもなく見事研究を完成させておっただろうの。
ですが、そういう時代だったからこそ、皮肉にも祖父はHinamizawa症候群の存在に気づくことができました。
The world today is in the nuclear era. Unfortunately, correct. With America and the Soviet Union glaring at each other over mounds of nuclear stockpiles, it takes nukes to have authority as a major power. Yet, we've forever abandoned our nukes thanks to our 3 anti-nuclear principles. In this age, we are now a nation without nukes. How deplorable. In the middle of the 20th century, despite rising tensions between East and West, there was a temporary peace known as the Cold War, brought by a balance of nuclear weapons pointed at one another. Permanent memberships in the United Nations were monopolized by nations with nuclear arms. Monopoly! They secured their predominance with nuclear weapons, bound the world with nuclear non-proliferation treaties. Did I say that right? I think I did. Eternally bounding... Oh, something. Blah, banning. What the hell did I say? Oh, fucking my ass. It wouldn't be Higurashi without me flipping, fucking, just messing everything up, okay? I actually don't have much of a problem with Umineko. Just Higurashi. What the fuck is going on? Internally banning non-nuclear nations from the world stage. For Japan to become a nation that can compete with the world, it must develop nuclear arms or something as powerful. Really? And you decided chemical instead of nuclear. Wow, okay. I mean, chemical is, is chemical warfare much more dangerous than nuclear warfare? I don't think it is. Because chemicals take time, where nuclear, you just press the button. Anyway, what? You like my sound effects? Anyway. Where the fuck was I? Where am I? What am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm recording. Son of a bitch. That's what some people believed, at least. Oh my god, what's with the lines? Son of a bitch. This fucking mod's not doing their goddamn... I know it's free work, but still, I mean, if you're gonna do something, at least do it right. God damn it. I'm bitching, I know, I'm sorry. Realistically, Japan will never arm itself with nuclear weapons. I know. The citizens wouldn't accept it. Even if the government ignored their opinions and armed itself with nuclear weapons, it wouldn't work. By abandoning nuclear weaponry, Japan gained the deterrent power of the United States. Though some people thought the only way for Japan to become equal to the United States would be to get nuclear weapons or nuclear arms of their own. But realistically, that was impossible. Even if Japan armed itself with nuclear weapons, that wouldn't automatically let Japan join the great powers. Takano and the old man discussed the balance of nuclear power in the world. Eventually, the sound of the cuckoo clock reminded them to return to the main subject at hand. The old man pointed at the attached case that had been sitting next to Takano. Takano nodded once, opened it up, and removed the contents. Which were? They were brand new bills packed in it. How much was actually in there? A bundle of brand new million-yen bills is 1 centimeter, so there must have been at least enough to make up 8 digits. Hot damn. There were also 2 more attached cases by her side. Oof. Damn. Got bank. However, neither Takano nor the old man were surprised at all. Oh, it's a regular transaction for you assholes, isn't it? Takano closed the attache case, and bowed.
ありがとうございます、先生。このご恩は忘れません。
金は人生の長い若者が持つべきだの。
Even though I just fucking increased the goddamn voice volume, it went back down by itself again. Okay. Well, sorry if you can't hear it.
金はあるだけものを言うが、現金はさらにものを言う。大事に使いなさい。
Yay.
もちろんですわ。
Spend it on video games. Get my stream set up all nicely and packed. Mm-hmm. Get a new apartment. Mm-hmm. One with, not so noisy neighbors.
高野くんが羨ましいの。良いお孫さんを持たれた。きっとあの世であんたを自慢しているだろうの。
まだ自慢されるようなことは何もしていません。
Wait, what? Let me go back. Oh, okay. I read that wrong in my head. I was like, wait, what? Sorry.
祖父の研究を完成させたとき初めて、私は祖父に褒めてもらえる資格が得られるのだと思います。
本当に羨ましい。うちのせがれたちは全然ダメだ。金儲けのことしか頭にない。金は儲けてからが大切なんだ。その儲けた金でお国のために何を貢献できるかが大切なんだ。
Famous saying, gotta spend money to make money.
それこそが今日まで自分を育んでくれたお国へのご恩返しっちゅうもんなんだがの。
たくさんの恋人たちに気前よくおごるのもお国へのご恩返しなんですの。
もちろんだとも。あいつらが買い物をすれば金は巡ってお国に戻る。
True, the money goes back to the economy.
金は天下の回り物だ。
It does. Goes all around and around we go. However, those lovers would probably end up buying some foreign goods. things probably don't work quite the way this old man thinks they do. Takano chuckled to herself.
だが、女どもにばらまく金とミオちゃんに託す金は意味が全く違う。
Obviously.
存じております。
ミオちゃんは今日までよく頑張ってきた。礼を尽くし、大勢の人たちの信用と支持を取り付けた。今だから話すが、春山くんも望月くんも最初は君のことを若すぎると批判的だったんだがね。だから私もミオちゃんのその努力を認めて、その金を託すんだ。
Why, thank you.
そしてな。
And I'm gonna use this money to terrorize a little town. For my grandfather's sake. Son of a bitch. That's basically what she's doing. Might I add.
その金を私が託す。つうことはの。私がミオちゃんを高野くんの研究の正式な後継者だと認めたということなんだ。
That be my name, don't wear it out, motherfucker.
ありがとうございます。
Did I just go southern? What the fuck was that? Okay.
私ごとき若輩に委ねてくださったことに深く感謝いたします。
I don't know what the hell that brought on, but okay.
いやいや、これは高野くんと君の研究だ。彼もミオちゃん以外が引き継ぐことを望まなかっただろうの。
I'm sure he wouldn't.
だからミオちゃんがここまで上り詰めたおかげで、他の年寄りたちをより説得しやすかったわけだ。
祖父の完成できなかった研究を私が完成させることだけが私ができる祖父への唯一の恩返しですから、そのために求められる努力ならばいといません。
Takano smiled as she remembered everything she had to go through to get to this point. It went without saying, but the old men around Takano saw her as someone from their grandchildren's generation, or maybe even younger. Just how much trouble did Takano have to endure in order to gain the trust of those with such a large generation gap? It was hard to describe to those who couldn't even imagine her trouble. But Takano earned it. She gathered allies, drove away enemies, garnered support, and forced them to recognize her. She spent a long time establishing trust in rising to a status that the old men would welcome. Which was all the more reason this meeting was a reward for her many days of hardship. Now that she officially had a powerful influence backing her, she could spread her wings and see the completion of her grandfather's unfinished research.
さて、高野くんの研究を正式に引き継ぐことになったなら、ミオちゃんにも話しておかなきゃならんことがある。
Yes, yes, tell me more.
何でしょう、伺います。
The old man paused and pulled an expensive cigarette from the cigarette holder on the table. Takano lit it up for him. She didn't smoke herself, but knowing that the old man did, she kept a lighter in her pocket. The constant build-up of little gestures like that were how she gained the trust she held today. Takano-kun noticed the Hinamizawa Syndrome in Manchuria, not Japan. Yes. According to my grandfather's journal around 1940, he learned that many soldiers sent from Hinamizawa to the Guantang Army expressed terminal symptoms, which led him to surmise that an unknown infectious parasite dwelled in Hinamizawa. Under the harsh conditions of war, people sometimes lost their mind. In those conditions, those who were sent to a far-off battlefield from Hinamizawa spent their days under duress, and occasionally they exhibited terminal symptoms, hallucinated, and caused twisted incidents. Yet, that all occurred in the extensive chaos of the battlefield. Every incident was handled separately, and no one suspected there was an underlying cause.
当時高野君は
There's the book.
軍医少佐として海外に派兵されていて、現地の貿易研究所で各種伝染病の予防対策について研究していた。
Can I like hide this, by the way? Damn. I mean, oh yeah, you can. Okay, cool.
そんな中で偶然、いくつかの錯乱事件がすべて同じ出身地の兵士によって起こされていることを知った。高野君は、hinamizawa出身者に特有の症状ではないかと仮定し、個人的にこの研究を始めたのだ。そして、hinamizawa出身の兵士を研究所勤務にして集め、いろいろと調査した。そしてhinamizawa独特のお社様信仰の存在を知り、得意な性質を持つ未知の疾病の存在を確信したのだ。
Some may wonder how he could be so certain that these symptoms were caused by unusual parasites. At the beginning of the 20th century, German doctors proved that some unknown diseases were caused by bacteria and parasites. At the time, it wasn't too far of a jump to assume that unknown pathogens could be behind unknown diseases. For instance, in modern times, it's been revealed that... What the fuck is that? That beriberi is caused by vitamin B1 deficiency. But at the start of the 20th century, many loudly proclaimed that it was the work of an unidentified pathogen.
はい。祖父はその研究が軍にとって価値のあるものになるのではないかと予想し、予算を求めましたが、一生に付されたとか。
I'm gonna look that word up, actually. Let me be right back. Okay, I am back, and that looked like some scary ass shit. Alright. Yikes. Get your vitamins, folks. That's all I'm gonna say. As a researcher, her grandfather was very talented and passionate. But when it came to gaining the aid of political powers, he simply struck out. Hinamizawa Syndrome. No, the possible existence of a parasite that infected the human brain and controlled emotions. Even though he made the remarkable achievement of discovering a mystery no one had explained before him, he was unable to convince others of that achievement, and spent his life alone, unable to garner support and unable to achieve proper recognition for his achievement. Independent research has its limit. Talented people, funding, and backup. A research project can be successful only if all those things are present. Takano had noticed her grandfather's mistakes, and that was why she did everything she could to obtain all of that.
当時の上層部は即効性でしかも普遍性の高い治療薬を期待していた。高野君の研究は非常に興味深いものではあっても、当時の軍には期待されなかったということだの。
ですが、先生は唯一祖父の研究に理解を示してくれたと聞いています。祖父は先生のことを無二の親友と記していました。
高野君とは同郷だった。同じ蕎麦屋を知る人間と遠方の戦地で会えるというのは奇跡的なことだったの。彼とは年は離れていたが、私たちは固い友情で結ばれていたのだ。だから高野君からはよく話をされたの。画期的な研究になるに違いない。本格的な研究のために予算をつけられるよう根回ししてほしいと何度も相談を受けた。
祖父の手記にも 先生がいろいろと各方面に掛け合ってくださったことが記されています。結局祖父の研究が認められることはありませんでしたが、先生だけが理解者でいてくれたことはきっと存命中大きな心の支えになっていたものと思います。
だが結局は何の力にもなれんかった。だから高野君にしてやれなかった協力をみおちゃんにするんだ。みおちゃんに協力するのは高野君に対する私の罪滅ぼしでもある。
ありがとうございます。祖父は良い親友に恵まれたと思っています。軍上層部に先生のように理解を示してくれる方が少しでもいてくれたなら、祖父の人生はもっと違ったものになっていたかもしれないと思うと、とても悔しく思います。
The old man closed his eyes and paused for a moment. Shortly after that, he looked into the distance and spoke.
実はな、真実はそうではない。上層部は高野君の発見に少なからず関心を持っていたのだ。
え、それは初耳です。でもそれならなぜ祖父の研究を認めなかったのですか？
ある事情により高野君にひなみざわ症候群を研究させたくない都合ができたのだ。その理由は私と一部の高級将校しか知らん。
Is it because it was a chemical thing? And that wasn't allowed?
私を除き全員が他界した今、高野くんの後を継ぐみおちゃんには話しておこうと思う。
Okay, so tell us.
研究させたくない都合とは何ですか？
Takano had believed, until this day, that her grandfather's research was ridiculed by everyone, which was the reason why it had never gained any recognition. Her grandfather had asked the military for funding, so he could uncover the secret of Hinamizawa Syndrome during the war. But just like the old man had said earlier, the military wanted an instant-acting weapon. That was why they weren't interested in his research. Ah, yeah, because chemicals aren't instant. Well, I guess some could be. But not this one, right? Takes a while. That's what she had believed. But as it turned out, the military had actually shown an interest after all. That was sudden. Okay. Before I go on, I need to explain about the Kwanton Army and Manchuria. Oh my god, I can't speak words today! Manchuria at the time. Fuck. While the Kwanton Army was stationed in Manchuria, God damn it! Opinions! Fucking Christ, even the simple words I can't get out of my mouth. Opinions were divided on whether to advance our forces north or south. At the time, Japan had troops in Manchuria, but opinions were divided on advancing north to deter the Soviet Union or advancing south to expand our territory and secure resources. With the Soviet Union and its predecessor Russia being a landlocked frozen nation, they had long yearned for an ice-free port that wouldn't freeze over in winter. They had made numerous attempts to expand their territory southward too. Those expansionist policies were said to be a cause of the Russo-Japanese War. In the history books, it said that Japan won the Russo-Japanese War, but it was actually a draw ending in peace, signed at the Treaty of Portsmouth. Both sides had simply set aside their spears after mutually exhausting their forces. It wasn't like Russia capitulated and offered a complete surrender. As a result, the perception of the Russian threat continued to smolder. Later, the Russian Empire was overthrown by a revolution, but Japan was unable to shake the threat that the new Soviet Union would advance south. According to the history books, Japan went south. They signed the Soviet-Japanese neutrality pact, and abandoned the northern advance. I think I'm gonna fucking stop it here and continue tomorrow night because I need to take a break. Fuck. I'll go on a little bit more. Okay. As a result, when the Great Patriotic War began, the Soviet Union was able to respond to pressure on their German front by pouring in their eastern forces. Though the Germans had managed to lay siege to Moscow, the Soviets launched a massive counter-offensive that reversed the tides of the war. Even with the Soviet-Japanese Neutrality Pact, the Soviets couldn't tell if Japan would attack them at some point. Because of that threat, the Soviets had to leave some forces in the Far East, and they weren't able to devote enough troops to the German front. For starters, the Soviets had forged the Germany-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact too. Yet Germany broke the treaty and attacked the Soviet Union. To make matters worse, Japan and Germany had forged a military alliance. Fuck! It's the simple words. I don't know why it's like my mind. Okay, you know what? I'm not explaining shit to all of you. What? How long have we been recording? Only 52 minutes. What the fuck? God damn me. God damn me, cynical. God damn me. Anyway, what? With all those factors in play, the Soviets naturally couldn't trust Japan to uphold their neutrality pact. Ironically, the Soviet Union was the one who broke the pact, but I won't go into that now. Thanks for putting those in. Exactly. Hitler signed the Tripartite Pact because he expected Japan to keep the Soviets' other front in check. But ultimately, Japan abandoned the North. With the superior German offensive, many supported the idea of waiting and watching it play out. They believed that even if we did advance north, it would be after Germany conquered Moscow. However, that plan was exposed to Sorge, and the Soviets transferred their heavy tanks from their far east border to the German front. That secured Germany's defeat at Moscow, and the Germans began seeing a string of defeats starting with the Battle of Kursk. It was a turning point in history, huh? During the Cold War, the Soviet Union was recognized as a global power, but at least in 1940, the Kwangtung Army didn't think it was a particular threat. Japan had earned a victory with the Russo-Japanese War, and they took the new Soviet Union government lightly, assuming it wouldn't be stable after overthrowing the Russian Empire. That understatement. No, I read that wrong, sorry. Coming back from a fucking break and now... Okay, you know what? It just wouldn't be Higurashi without me fucking everything up, right? Right. That underestimation, there we go, was corrected after the Nomahain incident in 1941. After several fierce short-term battles with the Soviet Union's advanced mechanized corps that led to great losses, the Kwangtung Army realized they shouldn't fight the Soviets, and that inclined Japan toward the Soviet-Japanese Neutrality Pact. Oh my god, this history lesson sucks. But at the very least, up until the Nomahain incident, the Kwangtung Army was strongly conscious of the Soviets and decided on... Why do I keep seeing a C there? That's a V. Divided on advancing north or south. Thanks to that, there were also voices advising caution, suggesting we avoid all-out war with China in order to shore up our forces against the Soviets. But the Sino-Japanese War broke out after the Marco Polo Bridge incident, right? Marco Polo! July 19... Oh my god, we're going even further back. Why? Fuck. History lesson sucks, man. Man, I did not think that. I didn't think I was going back to school. But here we are. I'm back in school. Oh my god. This is torture. I hope there's not a test after this. July 1973. I mean, wait, what? 37. I'm dyslexic. What? The Japanese and Chinese armies were staring at each other. My name is Sinikle and I need help. The Japanese and Chinese armies were staring at each other across the Logo Bridge in Beijing. No O in there. It was in the middle of the night on the July 7th. The Chinese army fired on the Japanese army in training and they engaged in combat. This triggered the long Sino-Japanese army war. Yes, according to historical records, that incident triggered the Sino-Japanese War, but with opinions divided over advancing north or south, the army was equally divided over a full-scale confrontation with China. No, in fact, we even received orders from General Staff Headquarters to resolve the matter quietly before the incident grew much bigger. So those supporting the northern advance wanted to settle the Battle of Lagao Bridge quietly, insisting that conflict with China was pointless in light of their anti-Soviet strategy. However, those on the mainland supported the The southern advance used this incident to dispatch more troops to China. They enacted hard policies against China, and thus the Marco Polo Bridge incident became the trigger for Japan and China to enter all-out war. After that, and their bitter struggles in the Namahain incident, Japan greatly revised their Soviet strategy. They signed the Soviet-Japanese Neutrality Pact and secured the route for their southern advance. Okay. The Sino-Japanese War got worse and worse. If the Marco Polo Bridge incident hadn't happened, it's possible that history would have gone very differently. No shit. Maybe we would have ended up in war with them anyway. However, if the South faction didn't get the chance, the military authorities would have kept restraining the Soviet Union, and the Soviets would have had to divide their forces between East and West. And maybe Germany could have invaded Moscow. Then Japan could have gone to Siberia. The map could have been very different today. Germany wouldn't necessarily have won the war if it had succeeded in taking Moscow. England was keeping its strength on the other side of Dover Strait. After all, the United States was poised to enter the conflict. Well, yeah, we were believe it or not, we were actually fucking dragged into this. We said no at first, but once, a certain incident started, not gonna name anything or anyone, but yeah, we were actually thrown into it. Anyway, besides, Napoleon once occupied Moscow. That's great. I don't really care. Can we get with the goddamn game? I'm slapping my knee. God! But in the end, no, okay. I got a good feeling we're gonna have a test and I'm gonna fail. You get 30. But in the end, he couldn't beat their winter and had to withdraw. I know what the fuck I'm gonna put for a title on this video, huh? Yeah, you can all guess it too, as you're already seeing it, but still, goddamn. Whoa. Oh my god, I actually blacked out. Oh god. Oh god, okay, my mind just fucking hazed. Oh shit. Okay, what? It is one of those ifs, huh? The Axis might have won the war. Yes, it's possible that the gunshots from the Marco Polo Bridge incident changed the tide of history. Both sides had different opinions of who fired the shot. Yeah, well. According to the Japanese side, the Chinese soldier fired a shot at a Japanese soldier who got too close to the Chinese camp. However, the Chinese side claimed the shot was a conspiracy invented by the Japanese military. But the shot was fired. Even though nobody knew who actually pulled the trigger, it sparked the Sino-Japanese War. Yes, that's what the history books say. But, Koizumi-sensei, what does that have to do with my grandfather? Yes, what does all this fucking have to do with the grandfather? Okay. In the Marco Polo Bridge incident, a shot was fired at a unit that was training in the middle of the night. Everyone was summoned for a roll call. They were missing one soldier. That soldier came back later, and it was said that he was sent as a messenger and got too close to the Chinese camp. By the way, did you know that soldier was from Hinamizawa? Eh? Really? When Takano-kun was talking about Hinamizawa Syndrome, he said that soldiers from Hinamizawa could suddenly fall into a deranged state and I'm going fucking crazy. Oh my god. And we realized that the soldier from the Marco Polo Bridge incident was in fact from Hinamizawa. Then what about the first shot fired? I don't know the truth, but I think it's possible that a soldier within the terminal stage of Hinamizawa Syndrome fired the shot. That soldier was killed in the incident. Since there was no record of it, nobody knows exactly how he died. The Japanese side claimed that the Chinese army had fired at them, and negotiated with that in mind. Just a scant few days after the incident. Oh my god. Japan demanded an apology from the Chinese, and as a show of force dispatched 3 divisions of reinforcements. The Chinese side was, of course, opposed to that. The situation escalated at once. If research into Hinamizawa Syndrome continued, the higher-ups thought it would negatively influence the Japanese army's claims. So, in order to avoid the risk of traversing the political gray zone, they rejected Takano-kun's research. So they... all that was... Okay. For those who might not understand, all that. I don't know how long this whole recording was because I took a break and I had to come back to this. Oh my god. And all this just so they could cover up the fuck up from one Japanese soldier. Really? Fucking Christ. You could have just gone to the fucking point. He didn't have to tell me all that in the beginning. In the middle. You just needed to tell me the ending part. Fuck. I feel like okay. I feel like a few years of my life has been dragged out of me. Thanks, game. Visual novel, what the fuck ever you want to be called. I don't give a shit. Oh, now you get voice lines! Game can go suck it. Oh, for fuck's sakes. The war's over now, but there are still some conflicts there regarding historical recognition.
高野君にその気はなくとも、Hinamizawa症候群の研究が公になれば、社会的な影響が強すぎて、一般大衆に不要の混乱と疑念を与えることにもなりかねない。
Maybe I shouldn't have gotten back into Higurashi. Maybe chapter 7 is like the real finale of this whole thing.
そう危惧した重鎮たちが、今日に至るまで高野君の研究を黙殺するよう根回しをしておったのは、今だから言える話だ。私も高野君に協力しないよう長く釘を刺されておった。
Takano tried to remain calm, but she couldn't stop herself from grimacing. She had just found out the real reason why her grandfather's research had been ignored. It was because of secret maneuvers by political masterminds. Yeah, let's not take the blame of one man that went deranged loco bolo, and yeah, let's continue on with the war negotiations and whatnot. Okay. Whatever. If those masterminds feared it so much, ironically, that meant they acknowledged the importance of this research. Takano was saddened and frustrated to no end by her grandfather's lonely life.
だがそういう連中は高いし、
How joyous.
もう当時を知る者は私しかおらん。もし今まだ高野君が生きていたなら、私はそれを誤って全面的な協力を申し出るつもりだった。
No, make no mistake, I'm fucking raging right now. All that just for that reveal. Okay, that was very unnecessary. Jesus Christ.
だが彼はもういない。だから私はミオちゃんに謝り、高野君にするはずだった協力を君にしようと思っているのだ。
I mean, I get it. Sometimes you want to give out a little history lesson in your games. I got you, baby. But guess what? No. Fuck learning in video games. I'm trying to escape the life that is now. Anyway.
よろしいのですか？私のHinamizawa症候群の研究をすることで蒸し返しになるということはありませんか？
もう当時とは時代が違う。それにHinamizawa症候群の研究には単なる風土病では済まされないものが潜んでおる。研究によっては医学の名前がつくあらゆる学会がひっくり返るような大発見になるかもしれん。
当時とはもう風向きが変わったということですわね。
そうだ。不幸にも高野君は風向きが変わるまで存命することができなかった。だが幸いミオちゃんという後継者に研究を託せた。
イエーイ。
だから私はこの命ある限りミオちゃんの研究を最大限応援する。
イエペー。
私は高野君に協力を約束したのに、さまざまなしがらみから力になれず彼を失望させた。その償いを命ある限りしていく。それが高野君が無二の親友と呼んでくれた私のこの世に残された最後の仕事だと思っとる。
先生、本当にありがとうございます。
Oh yeah, thank you for all that. Yeah, a big ol' heaping thanks, old man.
いや、いい。私も死ぬ前に洗いざらいを話せてすっきりした。とにかく私の目が黒いうちはミオちゃんの研究に一切の不自由はさせん。
I think just for that I should get fucking paid $100 or something. I'm talking about me, not Takano. Of course, Takano got her fucking shit. I feel like I got robbed of my precious time. Fuck.
何かあったら いつでも頼りなさい。助力は惜しまないからの。
Takano couldn't even imagine what kind of bond this old man and her grandfather had between them. But thanks to that bond, Takano was able to gain a powerful supporter. Tears welled up in Takano's eyes as she gave him an emotional look, but in her mind, she was practically dancing at the promise of an old man's full support. Yippee! The old man and Takano both bowed at the same time to show each other their appreciation. Yeah, I'll show you my appreciation, alright. Bend over, bitch. I'm talking about the old man, not Takano. But she can join. What? Once that was done, the old man became a little more serious. Oh, God. After that far too lengthy preamble. Yeah, let's call it that. He finally said what he really wanted to tell her. Oh, no. Please.
そういうことだ。私が言いたいのはつまり。
Great. Leave. Let this chapter die.
hinamizawa症候群には歴史すらも作りかねない魔力が宿っているということだ。
Whatever.
それは日本社会すらもねじ曲げかねない。
Oh my god.
そこのところをよく肝に銘じて慎重に研究をしなさい。
The passing of time. Yay. Where the fuck are we now? After the proprietor finished serving the food, she bowed and left. The room was very tastefully put together, reminding them of a tea ceremony room. While it was sparsely decorated, quite a bit of money had obviously gone into it. This was a very famous Japanese restaurant, where many high-up officials and other important people held secret meetings. Takano was there, accompanied by about 5 gentlemen. She was sitting slightly further away from the men. Wow, sexists. They were clearly in a much more important position than she was. One of the men, wearing an expensive double-breasted suit, told Takano not to be so nervous. Chill, baby, chill. Oh, look at that. You don't even get a name. You just call Beer Cat, bitch.
このような研究が数十年にわたり眠り続けてきたとは。驚きです。
Another one joins in.
過去に行われていたこの類の研究はほとんどが実らず、スタッフも解散となって何も残っていないと思っておりましたよ。
Okay.
この研究は上層部にもほとんど相手にされなかったと聞いております。
なるほど。故に誰にも知られず、そして誰の追求も受けなかったというわけですな。その意味においてだけは本当に幸運でした。
高野先生の研究を高野さんが引き継ぐとは面白い。これも因縁ですかな。まるであなたの体を借りて個人が研究を完成させようとしているかのようです。
Oh my god, possession.
本当にそうかもしれませんわね。
Yes, this old man is possessing this young woman's body. Oh yeah. What? Anyway.
私も奇妙な因縁を感じます。
Takano adored Takano Hifumi and called him grandfather, but she hadn't revealed that relationship to others. She realized it wouldn't be beneficial for people to think that she was involving personal feelings for her, in her continuing Dr. Takano's research. So publicly, she once had exchanges with Takano Hifumi, and after his death discovered his research documents with his remains and chose to carry it on. At least, that's how the story went.
それで先生方いかがでしょうか。
いくつかの省庁がね、非常に強い関心を持ったよ。中川君が言うには、防衛庁の技術研究本部が強い関心を示してくれてね、研究のスポンサーを名乗り出てくれた。
おお、それは朗報じゃないですか。おめでとう、高野さん。
ありがとうございます。
なんでも向こうが言うにはね、
There's a research council for next generation deterrence being led by experts from several different ministries.
この中でアルファベットプロジェクトというのがあるらしい。高野さんはご存知ですかな？
There was no way she would know about something like that. But it was very possible for these nationalists to research something dangerous without citizens knowing about it. Of course. Society forms something like a web made of connections between people. People hold hands with other people who share the same ideas and end up knitting a net. Of course, some nets are well known, but there are some secret ones too. So there was no way for guessing just how the men at this meeting were connected. A society involving research into deterrent weapons for the next generation. The Alphabet Project. With those words, it was possible to imagine what that might entail. Deterrent weapons. That usually refers to the nuclear technology. Weapons are normally used to destroy enemies. However, the general idea of deterrent weapons is very different. The assumption is that they won't actually be used against anyone. Nuclear weapons are largely used as a threat to prevent enemy invasion. Both the US and Soviets possess large stockpiles of nuclear arms, keeping each other in check, but they will never actually use them, because if they did, there'd be a nuclear war, and both countries would be destroyed. So they are like a legendary weapon you never draw. Of course, that last resort only works because both sides have nuclear weapons. If one side lacks them, then they lose all military negotiation power. In other words, nations without nukes are powerless before nuclear-armed states. That can't be true. Japan abandoned nukes, and it still functions as a nation today. Or, so some people may be thinking, but they are wrong. Japan abandoned nukes, but lies under the nuclear umbrella by allying itself with America. That means the nation functions thanks to America's nukes. However, that also means we must resign ourselves to forever being a vassal for America. Hell yeah! America! Fuck yeah! God damn it. In order for Japan to escape that and become a powerful nation equal to America, it must possess its own deterrent arms to step out of that nuclear umbrella. That society must have been put together by experts who believe in that ideal. Given that, even the name Alphabet Project makes sense. Nuclear weapons are weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, destruction, yes! What? I don't know what the hell that was, don't ask. However, weapons of mass destruction aren't always nuclear. They also include biological weapons and chemical weapons. Atomic, biological, chemical. The initials of these three words make up ABC. Haha, yay! That's why weapons of mass destruction are sometimes called ABC weapons. I won't go into weapons of mass destruction that don't belong to those three categories. Oh my god. Another history lesson, folks. Let's go. ABC alphabet. In other words, Alphabet Project must be a code for research into weapons of mass destruction. As it happened, this guess of Takano's was correct. Oh, not voiced this time, huh? Well, allow me. By rights, Japan should possess nuclear arms. We established ourselves as a peace-loving nation after the war, and after our vast international contributions, we have been recognized as a permanent member of the UN. Yet, until we possess nuclear arms, we won't be recognized as a proper nation. Clear my throat. That is the long-held desire of post-war Japan. Exactly. However, realistically, thanks to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the major nations hold a monopoly of nukes. Monopoly! Worse, or domestic public opinion is growing allergic to nukes, so foreign and domestic pressures make implementing them impossible. Biological and chemical weapons are sometimes known as the poor man's nuke. Small countries that can't own nuclear weapons have already started research into that kind of weaponry. Takano-san, please don't misunderstand us, okay? The purpose of our research isn't to obtain a biological weapon. Instead, our goal is to prevent such weapons from coming into Japan from other countries. So this is research into self-defense. I want you to understand that. I kinda have to disagree with that in what you're saying. I don't think I believe in you, but yeah. Fuck off. Yes, I'm aware of that. Takano hated this Japanese tendency to make excuses, but she didn't let it show on her face. No matter what they said, they already saw the value in using this research toward biological weaponry. However, in truth, that was just an excuse as well. If they actually wanted to research biological weapons, then it would be much faster to research diseases like smallpox and anthrax, instead of an unidentified disease like Hinamizawa Syndrome. So, it wasn't actually correct to say that the defense agency was interested in it as a biological weapon. In other words, Takano needed a powerful sponsor who could back her up with funding, personnel, and a facility to conduct her research. So she used her connections and turned to the old men behind the government and economy, reaching out to each of them and getting them to forcibly pull funding out of the defense agency under the excuse of its application towards biological weaponry. That was the truth. Therefore, her project wasn't officially recognized by the defense agency. To be exact, the people who secretly controlled the defense agency were the ones who knew about it. These masterminds diverted funding from the defense agency to the Alphabet Project, and then they pushed for Takano's research to be a part of it. Takano gets her funding, and the influencers get to drain public funds through kickbacks. Considering that, it was doubtful this project was genuinely about researching up the next generation of deterrence arms. It was probably just an excuse for the masterminds to funnel money into their own pockets. Well, those complicated matters didn't matter to Takano. Whatever those old men and influencers were planning wasn't her business. As long as she could get the funding for her research, that was enough. Either way, Takano had found her sponsor. It was one of the biggest organizations around, too. This had always been her grandfather's dream. Takano was trying to stay calm, but she was about to jump up and down in excitement. Don't do that.
中川君としては今回の件十分に研究が進んだら丸ごと買い取って構わないと言ってくれてる。まだまだ未完の研究だが、その将来性については十分に理解できてるようだ。
おっしゃる通りです。この研究はまだ道半ばで、十分な資金と施設、人材が欠かせません。
それでだね、ここからが交渉になるんだが、向こうとしてはこの研究丸ごと抱えてしまいたいのが希望らしいんだ。こう言っちゃ悪いんだが、君一人に任せるには荷が重いと考えてる。
Hearing that put quite the damper on Takano's ecstasy.
私はお金が欲しくて研究しているのではありません。一人の研究者としての知的探求心からです。私に必要なのはスポンサー。先方が求めるのは成果。そういう関係に期待したかったのですが。
Takano realized that she was talking rather breathlessly, so she tried to calm herself down. Either way, they'd be backing the research. Considering they are hoping for results that merit the budget, they probably feel that Takano is still too young to handle it.
分かってます、分かってます。高野さんが今日まで積み上げてきた研究を横からかっさらわれたんじゃ、それはあんまりですからね。そこは私もよく分かってます。もちろん向こうにもそれは伝えました。それで出てきた折衷案がこれです。まずアルファベットプロジェクト内の新規事業として高野さんの研究を立ち上げます。理事会の承認を経れば正式に予算をつけることができますからね。高野さんには客員という形でプロジェクトに参加していただき、研究に携わるという形になります。
If she wanted their funding, she'd have to fall under their authority, of course. So far, she had no objections.
ただ、研究会は今回の研究に予算をつけるにあたり、いくつかの条件を挙げています。
There's always a few conditions.
一つは、先ほど先生が申し上げたこの度の研究に関する分野で優秀な才能を持つ人物に研究筆頭を委ねることです。
That's Dr. Erie, right?
お言葉を返すようですが、私以上にこの研究に詳しい人物が高野先生を除いて存在するとお思いですか？
まあ、そこは高野さんを抑えて。お気持ちはごもっともです。
それではその人物に私が研究を売り渡すのと何も変わらないではありませんか。全く話が違います。
落ち着きなさい、高野さん。
Those cunning old men didn't miss sight of the faint leak of anger that crossed Takano's expression. They gave evasive laughs, as if remarking how immature she still was if she let her emotions show over such a little thing. However, they weren't laughing to look down on Takano. On the contrary, they were trying to tell her to wait until the end.
もちろんそこはあなたのやりやすいように手を打ちます。小泉先生からあなたをよろしく頼むと念をされているんです。大恩ある小泉先生に託されたあなたを私がないがしろにするとお思いですか？大丈夫です。ここは一つ私に任せてください。あなたもそして連中も納得するうまい妥結点を用意します。
と申しますと、
その人物の人選は私が握っているということですよ。
actually did that. Okay. God damn it. Everyone chortled except Takano. After a moment, she joined in. Nervous laugh. In other words, he meant that he could find just the right person. The defense agency had suggested finding an expert to lead the project because they didn't feel comfortable with just Takano. However, Takano's sponsor was the one tasked to find such a person. In that moment, Takano realized it. Ah, how wonderful it is to have such a powerful backer.
万事私に任せてください。あなたがやりやすい候補者をこちらで探します。
So they were looking for someone as a face to be the leader. But really, he's just a gullible person that's there pretending, sort of. Anyway, the real leader is her. Alright. Takano felt better after hearing that. While she wouldn't be the official head of the project, she would end up leading it from the shadows. There you go. Of course, she wasn't an expert per se. Having a partner would actually be beneficial. もちろん高野さんの満足のいく形で決着できるようにしますので。しばらく朗報を待ってください。Gotcha.
はい。お世話になりますが、どうかよろしくお願いいたします。
そうだ。防衛庁の話だけじゃないよ。厚生省の永田君も一枚噛んでくれるそうだよ。
Oh.
国立感染症予防研究所の伊藤君を紹介してくれてね。機材や技術についてのバックアップを名乗り出てくれてる。
本当ですか？ありがとうございます。
もうこれは立派な国家プロジェクトですな。おめでとう高野さん。これも今日までのあなたと、そして高野先生の地道な研究が評価された結果です。
いえ、すべて高野先生の努力の成果です。私などまだ何も。
謙虚なのは実にいいことです。小泉先生もおっしゃっておられましたが、本当に高野さんはいい方ですな。
Ah!
可愛がられているというのもうなずけます。
それでですね、向こうとしては高野さんの身分を防衛庁で預かってしまいたいようです。幸い高野さんは医師免許をお持ちですからね。研究本部の遺憾として身分を保証するようです。
公務員になれということですか？これは意外な話ですね。
アルファベットプロジェクトに携わる研究機関のほとんどは公的機関です。今回の研究は陸自も強い関心を寄せており、職員を陸自から派遣したいと強く要望してきています。ですので場合によっては身分は陸自の扱いになるかもしれません。まあこの辺は役人の縄張り争いだと思ってください。その役人たちの上に立つには役人の身分が必要になってくると、そういうわけですね。もちろんどういう形になろうとも高野さんが不快に思うようなことにはしませんから安心してください。
わかりました。そのあたりはお任せいたします。しかし高野先生がかつて軍にこの研究の援助を求めた時には断られたことを思うと、防衛庁が興味を示されたのが意外というか遅いというか複雑な気持ちですね。
それは仕方ありますまいな。
With the war situation worsening, the Japanese military sought something that, with immediate effect. Something that could turn the war around.
決して高野先生の研究を見下していたわけではないはずです。
That wasn't true, of course. Takano already heard the confession from the old man. She exhaled. To her, it was like the meeting in front of her was happening somewhere far away. She had longed for this day to come, and worked so hard to reach it. Finally, her grandfather and his research were attaining recognition. This was the day she had dreamed of. So she was frightened, just imagining that it might be an actual dream. True joy can't be felt all at once. Oftentimes, it's a delayed reaction. Takano thought that must be exactly what she was feeling.
すると思います。多分左官クラスの階級が与えられるのではないでしょうか。となると高野さんは副隊長の地位になりますから、おそらく3差ではないかと。これは素晴らしい。高野3差ですか。いやいや羨ましいですな。男に生まれたからには一度くらいは自分のことを階級で呼ばれてみたいものですが。
Okay, dude, you're overselling it just a tad. Okay, settle down. Jesus Christ.
3差
What the fuck?
何ですか？
ああ、自衛隊の階級のことで3等陸佐のことです。企業でいうところの副部長くらいでしょうね。おそらくその階級がプロジェクト発足時に高野さんに与えられることになるかと思います。
昔でいうところの少佐ですよ。そういえば奇遇ですな。高野先生もかつては少佐の階級にあられたそうではありませんか。
Takano remembered suddenly. They were right. Her grandfather had been a lieutenant commander in the Japanese military. Everything she had done until today was so she could continue her grandfather's research. Now everything had fallen into place. She had even been granted the same rank as her grandfather. She had always believed that succeeding in his research would be proof that they had a bond tighter than blood. And now she would even be the same rank as him. This is fate, Takano thought. Maybe this is even a message from Grandpa. Yes, it must have been a shout of encouragement from heaven. It was proof that she inherited not only his research, but his will as well. Takano couldn't help but feel a sense of destiny for attaining the rank of major.
おじいちゃん、私、ようやくここまで来たよ。
Nobody else could hear her say that, but her grandfather in heaven could. That's what Takano believed. She had only come so far. There were still a lot of things to do for this research to be recognized as a great work. Otherwise, her grandfather won't become a god. She wouldn't become one either. You must become a god. That was in her grandfather's will. I was unable to do so. That line preceded it. It was her grandfather's dying wish. Her grandfather entrusted it to her. All of his research. A god can't be physically brought back to life. A god is made in the hearts of the people who remain alive. Her grandfather will live on in her heart. His exploits will be known to many, and all the scholars will fight to read his documents, to steal them from each other. And they will learn about Hifumi Takano, who began his research during the war. They will know that nobody understood him, and that he ended up devoting his lonely life to his research. And finally, they will extol his grand achievements. Well, that was a big fat F. Holy crap, I'm stretching. Okay. Well, thanks for the history lesson, I guess. Kindly go suck a dick. God damn it, man. Seriously. They didn't need to put that all in. They actually didn't. Alright? Some tidbits, fine, I'll accept it. But that whole long motherfucking beginning and the middle, not really necessary, alright? Jesus Christ. I guess some people do find it interesting. Sure. Have at it. Go read it in a book. But not in a video game where I'm trying to escape real life. You know, hard work. Bills. Crippling depression. Fuck. Jesus Christ. Nonetheless, fine. It's somewhat interesting to learn. And great. The ending was great as well, kind of. I'm not really a fan of Takano, even in her earlier years. Don't really give a fuck about her. But I can see why we're seeing her life up until now, and you know what I'm talking about, right? No? I'm rambling? Yeah, I know I am. Okay. Anyway, let me get out of this fucking screen. Okay. So, hopefully you all enjoyed that. If you didn't, and you liked my ramblings instead, or you didn't like anything at all of this video, I don't fucking blame you. I disliked most of it anyway as well, so have at it. Dislike the video, I guess, if you want to, but it would be really appreciative if you give it a thumbs up instead. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because not only am I doing Higurashi, but I'm also doing Umineko on the side as well. So go ahead and check those two out. And yeah, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all next time. But until then, please, as a reminder, stay sinful, folks!